YB stays on your neck.
It's on my neck.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So as you've seen by this title, and as you can see on your screen now, Team AJ, by way of Eddie Hearn, aka Mr. will make your career the best career in the whole boxing history, has exposed and has confirmed what the YB and many other YouTube commentarians have proclamated. Yeah? Bottom line, the title reads, Deontay Wilder will change mind about WBC's franchise status to duck Anthony Joshua and Dillian Debo White. Now, let me give you, man, some background. Essentially, what happened was 2 weeks ago, I made some videos, and quite a few people made some videos about this whole WBC franchise situation. The WBC made Devin Haney WBC champion, essentially to enable Lomachenko to duck Devin Haney. Now, don't even get me wrong, I'm not even sure what's going on there, because Lomachenko was happy to call out Tank Davis, but he don't want to fight Haney. Very odd. Bearing in mind as well, Haney's making more money than Tank Davis, pound for pound, career for career, age for age. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, back to reality now. So that's what happened then. Initially, Devin Haney was made WBC champion, and Lomachenko was made WBC franchise champion. Now, at that point, me and others speculated that Wilder was also made franchise champion. But at that point, what happened then? Wilder came out and said, "Yeah, man, I'm not gonna become. I've watched YB's videos. I'm not gonna become. I've watched YB's videos. I don't want him to know that I'm ducking Dillian White and Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to tell y'all that I'm not going to become the franchise champion." But I've actually heard, I've spoken, my sources within the WBC have actually said that on the sly, he is indeed the franchise champion now. But for all public intents and purposes, they're going to carry on like as if he's regular. But listen, to be fair, Wilder was the original franchise champion. Wilder's been franchise champion since 2015. Just look at what's been going on. As an example, Wilder beats Bermain Stavern. Yeah, it was an alright fight, to be fair, but it weren't really competitive. The only thing that was competitive about it was Wilder's lacking power. Yeah, the minute he came up against someone who was half sharp in Bermain Stavern, he could hurt no one. But anyway, put that to one side. Fact of the matter is, 2 years after that fight took place, Bermain Stavern was given another fight, and people were saying, even at that point, and this was 2017. Yeah, he fought Bermain Stavern in January 2015. Yeah, 2.5 years later, in October 2017, 2 years and 3/4 later, Bermain Stavern's mandated again as a mandatory. Now, who did Bermain, and in that period, by the way, Bermain Stavern literally fought no one. He beat no one and fought no one in that period. So that was questionable, and that's what I said. It confirmed he's a franchise champion, and the same things happened again. And even, this is the crazy thing, even back in 2017, when the Bermain Stavern fight happened, guess what? Dillian White was that's actually when this whole mandatory situation took place with Dillian White, because it was then. This leads back to the whole 600 days business, goes back to the second Bermain Stavern fight, the first Bermain Stavern mandatory. That's where this actually drags back to. That was the first time Dillian White was supposed to get his shot, but once again, instead of Dillian White getting his first shot, Bermain Stavern was given his second. 2-2s. Dillian White is set to fight Dominic Bumzeal. No, whatever. Down to fight Dominic Bumzeal. What happens then? Tyson Fury bottles the Wilder fight. So the WBC chooses, you know what, since Fury's bottled it, we're now, rather than letting Dillian White and Brazil fight for the mandatory, we're going to protect Wilder, and we're going to we're going to take Dillian White's fight away from him, and make Brazil the mandatory for Wilder. Which made no sense again, because if you were going to, ultimately, bearing in mind, White versus Brazil, or Bumzeal, was booked before Wilder versus Fury. So with that in mind, what they should have done is said that, you know what, we're going to go ahead with Dillian White versus Brazil, and Deontay Wilder can fight someone else. But instead, they mugged off Dillian White and protected Wilder, and gave and put all that stuff to one side. Why didn't they? If they're going to cancel the fight between Dillian White and Brazil, why didn't you put Dillian White in there again? Bearing in mind, Dillian White, even the LDBC can't deny this. Even Mr. 78 IQ, aka Jabba the Hutt, can't deny this. Out of everyone, or out of two people, Dominic Bumzeal or Dillian Don D-Ball White, who would you rather see Deontay Wilder face? No one, to be fair, actually, back in May this year, they were actually saying, yeah, man, Dominic Brazil earned his shot. I remember hearing it. Him and all them man in googly eyes, Jabba the Hutt, googly eyes, all them man were saying it. Yeah, man, Dillian White ducked Deontay Wilder mandatory. Yeah, man, Dominic Brazil earned his shot. He did this. He fought for the, what's that thing called that fighters fight for? Oh, yeah, man, Dillian White hasn't had his final eliminator. Oh yeah, man, Dominic Brazil had his final eliminator. Started bringing in all these weird ass technicalities, which meant that Brazil could have the fight. No, just put the best person in there. That's how these things need to be. It should be the best fighter available. In fact, you know what I'd be doing if I was bearing in mind how innovative technology is these days. If I was a governing body, this is how I'd honestly do it. I'd leave it to a Twitter poll. Seriously, that's what I'd do. I'd say, you know what, our champion is going to fight the public wants to see most. So as an example, so let's say Deontay Wilder's just had a fight, yeah? The next fight, as soon as his last fight's finished, I'd put a tweet out saying, who would you like to see Wilder fight next? And there'd be a poll of 10 people, the WBC top 10. And I'd put the poll there, leave it out there. And I'd say, for the 30 days after Deontay Wilder's last fight, there's going to be a poll. And the winner of that poll gets the fight. That's the best way to do it, I'm sorry. Because in reality, that's what it should be. No, that's how it should be. Obviously, every time someone loses, they're removed from the pile for X amount of time. Does that make sense? That's how you got to do it. Or you do a top 3. Maybe a top 3's better. Or WBC top 5. That's how it should be, really. Because then, number one, it's best for the TV networks. Because the TV networks are getting the fight which people are actually going to pay for. But most importantly, well, it's just best for everyone. That way, you get the best person every time. Or the person, that's what it's about the fans at the end of the day. And no fan is going to want to see Dominic Bumzeal versus Wilder over Dillian White. People actually want that. I've said it myself. No word of a lie. Wilder versus Fury or Dillian White versus Fury. I'm Dillian White all day. Because, like I've said before, this heavyweight boxing used to be, will Team A get the knockout or will Team B get the knockout? With Fury, it's will Wilder knock him out or will Fury bore everyone half to death? Literally, will Fury put everyone into a deeper depression than he was in after watching that boring ass performance? I'm not sorry. I don't even rate Fury as a boxer. As an example, Floyd Mayweather used to box, but you'd see him pull back, and his opponent would miss their jab by 2 inches, and he'd come out of a lead straight right hand. Do you know what I mean? Pull counter, right hands. Show me a time what Fury's ever done that. Few people rant and rave about Fury's skill. I've never seen him pull off evasive head movement and then come back and counter. He just moves his head and don't do nothing with it. He don't never use it to get offensive shots off. And that's what true boxing is. Yeah? Staying in the pocket and being able to be elusive. Not using twinkle toes to run 6 feet out of the way. That's what Logan was doing this weekend. He was just running backwards. That's not great skill. Great skill is being able to make him miss and make him pay. It's cliche, but that's the truth of it. Fury don't do that. Number one, because he ain't got that IQ, and number two, he ain't got the power for it. Unfortunately, even if he could pull counter, as an example, he would make a scrap of difference, because he ain't got a lick of power on him. He's got little spindly arms with no force in them, no twitch in them at all. Slow as you like. Oh, well, YB, Fury's the fastest fighter. He might be fast, but he's got no power, so it's irrelevant. Anyway, back to this. Dillian White has been ducked for the longest time. And now let's move on to what Eddie Hearn actually said. God knows how I got into that rant, but we're here now. So, Eddie Hearn says to follow him. Oh, this is dread. Team AJ have gone fully roasted this dude up. He says, listen. Eddie Hearn says, listen. You can't take anything Deontay Wilder says seriously. First of all, he says, yeah, man, wrong face, wrong name, wrong champion. And then, we chased the undisputed fight for over a year. AJ vs Wilder. You know what? I can't wait until AJ splatters Ruiz, because then we get to go back. Finally, I've had enough rest now. I was getting tired. I got to be honest. The first 4 months of AJ vs Wilder, it was starting to start draining on me. It was starting to get frustrating. It was starting to get me to the point where I wanted to stand across the ring from googly eyes and fill his quant right in for him. Anyway, but now the Ruiz stuff has gone on. It's given me a nice break. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. Anyway, as I was saying, so Eddie Hearn says you can't take anything Wilder says seriously. First of all, he says one face, one name, one champion, and then we chase the undisputed fight for over a year, and he don't want to know anything about it. And AJ loses, and it's one face, one name, one champion again. Now he says he'll turn down a franchise belt if he gets the opportunity to duck Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua or anybody by being elevated to franchise champion. He would do it in a heartbeat. Don't take what Deontay Wilder says too seriously. There you go. Team AJ, Eddie Hearn, completely cooked Deontay Wilder. And this is great stuff because I've been calling for this myself. People have got to start talking out, and that's why I've taken not shots at, but that's why I've lost respect for Dillian Whyte, because not only scrap the UCAD stuff on the WBC front, all of a sudden Dillian Whyte turned into politician. Oh yeah, you go and watch Dillian Whyte's interviews for the last X amount of time. Whenever someone's asked him, what's going on with the WBC, Dillian? Oh, it's with the lawyers. I don't want to say anything. I'm just going to sit here and be silent. I thought that's not how I know you've made money now. I know you're rich now, but that comes across fake to me. Your whole career's been built on you being outspoken. Yeah. All of a sudden now you make a bit of change and you've turned into the man you used to laugh at as such. The difference is AJ. You man can laugh at AJ, but he's been consistent. He never came across as a guy who's going to have been outspoken. Dillian Whyte comes across fake now because he was all smoky to start with. Now he's got that AJ money. He's gone silent. Oh well, it's with the lawyers now. Oh well, I don't want to speak out against the WBC. Wait a minute, you was calling AJ a fake, a corporate robot. What happened to that then? And that's what Dillian Whyte fans don't get. Your man's meant to be the Brixton Road man. Where's that gone? Oh well, it's with the lawyers. Oh well. Oh, I don't want to say anything bad about WBC now. Someone's got to do it, yeah. And you, man, it's your life at the end of the day. It's your money. Because sucking off the unfortunately as well, I wouldn't mind. You man have tried sucking WBC off and it hasn't worked. It's failed miserably. When you give people an inch, they take a mile. You thought, oh, you know what? Let's play the corporate route. Let's sit here and bend over for Maurizio. You bent right over, and Maurizio's just been tugging away from behind, slowly tugging away. You know what I mean? So that's what he's been doing. What you need to do is, yeah, unbend your back, stand up straight, pull your trousers up, tie your belt up, and start sticking it on them. That's what needs to happen. Because legally speaking, by you speaking out, they can't cut you out of the rankings because you've been outspoken. Especially when you're speaking facts. We're not lying. Wilder's ducking you, and the WBC are enabling him to do it. Someone speak it out. And Eddie Hearn. He's done his job here, but in my opinion, it's Dillian Whyte's responsibility. Yeah? End of the day. Now, AJ's got other things in the meantime, but even AJ was coming to the point of, well, you know what, AJ was doing one better than that. AJ was sending contracts. There's not much more you can do. AJ doesn't actually have any affiliation with the WBC. It's not his responsibility to say anything, really. That said, even on his front, after this Ruiz fight, he needs to start saying to WBC, how is it you were able to mandate Fury? This is what happened. When Fury was fighting bums back in August last year, the WBC came along and said, yeah, oh man, we're gonna make Tyson Fury mandatory. Yeah, Tyson Fury, he's mandatory for Deontay Wilder. That's what they did. They came out of nowhere and made him mandatory. So my whole thing is now, we know WBC has power to mandate people out of nowhere. So why is it when AJ splatters Ruiz, I want to see WBC mandate Anthony Joshua out of nowhere the same damn way? So I just don't get it. And there's not enough people talking. In fact, no one's talking about it. No one's bringing you, man, the insights that YB's got. YB's got exclusive insights. Not one man has put it to you, man, this way. We want to see AJ mandated the same way Fury was mandated. I don't get it. WBC pipe up and say, you know what, Wilder? Because this is the great thing. Once a champion's been mandated, if they don't do the fight, they get stripped. And that's why, when Wilder was mandated in February this year to fight Fury, all you Fury fans were saying, oh, Wilder's ducking Fury. Wilder can't duck Fury. Because he was mandated to do it. And that's how you knew he actually wanted to fight. And that's why you know Wilder never wanted the Anthony Joshua fight. Because if he did, the WBC could have come out and said, listen, we're going to mandate this fight. That's how you'd have known if he'd have wanted it. And that would have been the ultimate proof for Wilder. If Wilder really wanted to mug AJ off, he could have said to the WBC, I want you to publicly mandate this fight, me and AJ. And talk about purse bids in that, and put it to purse bids, and offer a purse bid. Yeah, and that would have been the proof in the pudding then, wouldn't it? If the WBC had come along and said publicly, all right, we're doing a AJ versus Wilder is now mandated in 4 months' time. We're going to hold the purse bids on the 21st of June. And guess what? If Eddie Hearn and AJ hadn't turned up, that would have been game, set, and match. You'd have proved then that they were ducking. But you didn't want to do that. Guess why you didn't? Because you didn't want to fight. You didn't want no parts of the fight. Not even a bit parts of the fight. And the difference is, people could sit there and say, well, AJ didn't do that either. Number one, AJ was literally sending people chasing Finkel around, chasing Alienhead around the place, trying to give him an offer, trying to give him record paydays. Number two, AJ has 3 belts, so he can't... He's going to have to sit there and organise 3... No, it don't make no sense. You've got 1 belt, so it's easy to organise. Plus, we know you got the WBC in your pockets. Anyway, back to this. So essentially, Eddie Hearn, Team AJ have exposed Deontay Wilder using the franchise. The franchise situation is a complete joke, and I've said it myself before. Listen, what needs to happen is Eddie Hearn or someone needs to bring out their own belt like the UFC. Otherwise, the UFC is already talking about getting into boxing, and I think it'll be the best thing that's ever happened. Yeah, it's probably going to take them 10, 15 years to get. To be honest, actually, it won't. All it will take for the UFC to become big, it might only take 5 years. All you've got to do is wait for this generation of fighters to go away, because as long as the UFC can capture all the new generation, then that's all it's going to take. It's only ever going to take 1 generation for this UFC to pull it off. The minute, and I'm not even funny, even people like Daniel Dubois, I can see them signing with UFC, especially when UFC and Eddie Hearn are talking about doing business together. We've already seen Eddie Hearn take over boxing, and it's only just started, really. We're only like a year into it. Imagine 5 years from now, as an example. That's what needs to happen. This belt situation isn't working. No one cares about no one knows who champions are. It's all a big mess, and that's because there's 4 belts. And the worst thing is, it's not even 4 belts anymore. You've got 4 belts, and then you've got the WBA Super. You got the WBC Diamond. You got the WBC Money Belt. You got WBC. It's a complete mess. It's all because of the money as well. It shouldn't. And I understand you man want to make money, but that's why it's best. If you only have one organisation, if you have a monopoly in the sport, then that monopoly can make money. There's no reason for everyone else to be in there. Yeah, no reason for it at all. There's no reason to be having 4 champions. It doesn't make no sense. Champion is in its own right. 1 champion means monopoly. Champion means 1. Anyway,